In this video today, we're going to be going over how to improve your ankle mobility so you can reduce any kind of pressure or tension in your ankles and enhance your squat. Okay, when we look at our ankle mobility, the first thing that we want to do is identify where our current range of motion is. Once we have determined how our ankle mobility is, then we can start to do three different things. And those three things are work on soft tissue work, so myofascial release. Then we want to work on stretching, and then we want to work on end range movements. And once we've gone through all three of those progressions, then we can retest our ankle mobility and see if we've improved our range of motion. Well, how do I know if it's my ankles that are negatively impacting my squat? Well, what we'll want to look at is if our heels are coming off the ground, if our feet are starting to collapse, which is further causing our knees to cave in, if we're seeing a big butt wink, if we're seeing a pretty big hinge with our hips, and lastly, if we notice that our squat just isn't getting as deep. And it's all of these things that are going to give us a pretty good idea of whether or not it's our ankle flexibility that's compromising our squat. And a good way to test this out is to do a knee to wall dorsiflexion ankle test. So when doing the knee to wall ankle test, you'll want to place your foot about one hand's width away from the wall. Once you've done that, we'll get into a lunge position, and then you can press your knee against the wall, or try to as best as you can, while maintaining a flat foot on the ground. If you find that your heel is lifting off the ground, or if you see that your foot is starting to collapse, which is further causing your knee to cave in, then that's a really good indicator that you're seeing tightness in your calf and your ankle. Ideally, you'll also want to see that your knee is tracking on the middle outside of your foot and not going too far in or too far out at the same time. Now, once you've determined that your ankles are a little bit tight, we can then transition into the soft tissue work and the myofascial release. So the way that we're going to start this is we're going to grab a foam roller or some sort of hard ball. We could use a baseball, lacrosse ball, softball, anything like that will do. And then what you'll want to do is take a seat on the ground, and then we will place one of your ankles right on top of the ball or the foam roller, cross one leg over. And then what you want to do is you want to start to search for any tight, tender spots, trigger points, anything that really hurts. And a great way that you can actually navigate this is to internally and externally rotate your foot. And as you are sliding and rolling the foam roller up your calf, this is a great way to see where these hot spots or tender spots are going to be. And once you've found one of those really tender spots, you're just going to want to lay on the foam roller or the ball. And then once you've sat there for about 10, 15, 20 seconds, what you can then do is start to pump your foot. So plantar flex, dorsiflex, plantar flex, dorsiflex. And this is really going to help you massage that calf and get those tight kinks out of the muscle tissue. And once you feel like you've kind of kneaded that muscle and massaged that muscle enough, you can then start to navigate up your calf even further, go through that same process of internal, external rotation to help find those hot spots, those tender spots. And then once you found that spot again, lay on it, and then you can start pumping your foot again. And once you finish both calves, we can then move on to stretching. And remember, with this, it's okay to feel pain. It's okay to feel discomfort. It's not a problem at all. It's really just helping you out with your tight calf and your tight soleus. Now that we've done some soft tissue work with our calf, we can now transition into some static and dynamic stretches. And when doing this, you're going to want to put the balls of your foot against a step, a foam roller, or against a wall. And once you've done this, we'll start to straighten your leg, and this will start to stretch your calf. After you've stretched this out for anywhere between 15 to 30 seconds, then we can move into the dynamic stretch. And you can start to bend your knee, lift your heel off the ground, and then straighten your knee out again. And as you're bending your knee, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because we want to keep applying pressure to the balls of our feet and drive our heel down towards the ground. And it's this action right here that's going to be really helpful in increasing your range of motion. Another thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that our knee is tracking right dead center. We're not caving in too much or going too far out to the side. Now that we've done the myofascial release and stretching, we can now work on your end range conditioning. So what we'll want to use is a dumbbell that's approximately 15 to 25 pounds. You can also use a large resistance band or monster band to help with this technique as well. So we'll get into a modified lunge position that will almost mimic your max range for a squat. and we'll place the dumbbell right on top of your quad directly above your knee, and that dumbbell is going to be there to apply some downward force as you are leaning into that end range position. And make sure that you're trying to reach that max range every time you're going back into dorsiflexion. And if you don't have a weight that's heavy enough, and if you do have a really thick resistance band or a monster band, what you can do is get into that same setup, but place the resistance band just on top of your talus, right below your ankle joint, just barely below your ankle joint. And then you can go through the same exact motion as you would with that weight by applying pressure with the top of your elbow or your hands. And this is a similar exercise that you can do if you're trying to continue to reach that max range. And once you've done all 3 mobilization techniques, the next thing that you can do is just go back and test it, see if you've made any progress. So again, we'll go about 1 hand's width away from the wall. Put your foot against your hand and see if you can get your knee to touch the wall without lifting your heel, as long as it is tracking perfectly right over the middle / outside half of your foot. If you can do this routinely throughout the week, it's going to be really beneficial at helping you improve your range of motion with your ankles. And then again, if you can do this at the gym prior to your leg workouts, it's really going to help improve your range of motion. It's going to help you warm up. It's going to help you squat deeper, and it's going to allow you to appropriately activate the muscles that you actually want to work out during your leg exercises. Okay, so that's it. So if you can do these 3 mobilization exercises and techniques, it's going to go a long way. Try and get it done a couple of times a week if you have time, and then really try and get it done prior to your workouts. All right, well, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That would be really appreciated. And then comment if you have any questions, feedback, or insight, anything, all of the above. Thanks for checking out the video. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one, and I will see you later.